Welcome to the Startup Foundation Founder Basecamp Session 3. Today we will be discussing go-to-market strategy and first customer plan. And then as we going started before, I'm going to remind you that we have 5 sessions in total. So in the last week, we have a demo day. And today we are in session 3. We'll discuss go-to-market strategy, quite important topic. And before we start, just let me recap a little bit about session 2. So we discussed customer discovery and persona building. So we recommend schedule 5 to 10 discovery interviews with your users to understand their real needs and not based on hypothesis. And then during the interviews, they don't recommend to ask open-ended and behavior-first questions and listen most of the time rather than you talking. So then you can get their real feedback. And then after the interview, write a one-sentence problem statement and then rank the risks. And then you test and then you repeat to make your project better. So in summary, is to run interviews, write a one-sentence problem, rank the risks, and design a small MVP test. So now we're going to talk about go-to-market strategy and the first customer plan. And today we have an amazing guest speaker right here, Edgar, and he's tuning in from El Salvador. He's a CEO from K1 Technology. And we have another speaker that you already know, is Dylan from the Startup Foundation. So I'm going to give you the mic now, Dylan.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the introduction. And Edgar, awesome to have you here. Thank you. Yes, this is my haircut. Yes. But yeah, no, Edgar, great to have you here. Just for context, everyone, I met Edgar last month, actually, in El Salvador. He is building some incredible things out there and is a great person to listen to with regards to how you're building your product and most importantly, who you're building your product for. So, Edgar, thank you so much for joining us. Really, I just want to start with your journey to building K1. Can you introduce us, introduce yourself, walk me through your background and what you're trying to first solve and how you identified that problem with K1?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for the invitation. It's really a pleasure to be here. Really honored by the invitation. So I'll be happy to go through this journey with you guys.
Perfect.
So first of all, my journey. Well, I've been tinkering with hardware and software for since I was little. I remember taking apart my dad's Commodore 64 floppy drive and never being able to put it back together. So I've always been a little bit curious about how things work. I began my formal education in computer science, maybe, I don't know, even a little bit earlier. I took some technical classes when I was in 7th, 8th grade. I took electronics on my break between, like around high school. And then I had the chance to live in California, in Sacramento for a couple of years. And that's where I took some more advanced electronic classes when I was 18 to 20 years old. After that, I went to work in a couple of companies here in El Salvador when we came back. So I worked as a software developer, then as a lead software developer. Eventually, I was the IT manager for an organization that worked with sponsored children nationwide. So we had many challenges, and we knew what the needs were from education standpoint, from access to tools, and basically that's what really awakened my desire to help my country.
Nice. So what exactly does K1 do, and how did you kind of solve the problem associated that K1 is building for?
Of course. So K1, we build the easiest way to buy Bitcoin in the world. I came to that to that problem, or maybe trying to solve that problem, when when El Salvador announced the Bitcoin law. We tried the existing solutions to buy Bitcoin and to use Bitcoin here in El Salvador, and it was really, really difficult. It was hard to get Bitcoin. The fees were high if you went to an ATM. So we decided to build a mini ATM that was able to be used by anybody. I always like to say, I designed it for my grandma. So if she can use it, like anybody can use it. And I actually have it here with me. So this is one of our mini ATMs. And as I was saying, it's really easy. You can buy Bitcoin from 5 cents. So we're going to do a live demo, of course, to make it exciting, right?
Let's do it.
So I have a Lightning wallet on my phone. On the Lightning wallet, you just create your QR code. So I will go ahead and deposit 5 cents. This could be, $1, a euro. One of the machines we're programming, for euro notes as well, because it's going to Portugal. So, but after you deposit whatever amount you're using, you just show the machine your QR code, and that's it. I got my sats now. I received 5 cents in Bitcoin. And so that's the problem we're solving. It's access to Bitcoin.
So just for context, we were playing around with it in El Salvador. It's smooth. It's really nice. Abdel also has a great post on his Twitter account. I was just trying to find it, but wasn't able to find it. Just of going through some of the atomic swaps with it. It's very interesting. It's extremely valuable, and maybe you can kind of go into why this is actually valuable, particularly in El Salvador, maybe, and why do we actually need something like this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we want Bitcoin to be adopted and crypto in general to solve real world problems, we need to design. My goal is to design for the 100%, not for the top 1%. So obviously, if you're an early adopter, if you began, your journey into Bitcoin or into crypto years ago, you know your way around. But just as you have friends, I have friends, you have family who are intimidated
Do I have
or
friends? That's the real question.
well, that's another
Yeah,
issue.
but I
But
appreciate the compliment.
so if you have friends who are intimidated by it, who don't want to, who think it's a scam or whatever, the easiest way for us just to do, we go to demos, we go to trade shows, we go everywhere, like to a school, sometimes on the street, and here's 5 cents, try it, and then you get it immediately, and that builds trust. That allows people to break that initial barrier of, oh, I don't know anything about Bitcoin, I don't know how to do this. Here's 5 cents. It's risk free to you. Just do it. And then when people do it, they start learning about it and they
Nice.
like it.
Nice. So who is your typical customer? Who do you, something that we talk a lot about during this program is this concept of an ideal customer profile. Who is your ideal customer? Is it the person who has never touched Bitcoin to get on board them? Or is it someone who is Bitcoin curious and wants to find a way to access and go from their current local currency into more of a Bitcoin kind of standard?
Yeah, well, we have customers all over the world. Right now, we are in 23 countries, and the machine going to Portugal will be our 24th
Nice.
country.
Damn.
But yes, it's been a
It's
wild
impressive.
ride.
Yeah.
Thank you. We have because of our business model, we are like B2B2C would be how you would categorize us, because even though we build, our end user is the person who has, $1 or $5 or $20 and wants to buy Bitcoin. We do not sell to them directly. We call them our operators, the people who want to buy a machine and operate it running on their own. So that's our direct customer would be the machine operators, usually a business. Most of them are either into education. So somebody who runs, for example, the guy who runs the Bitcoin meetup in Switzerland, he bought one of our machines. We set it up for Swiss francs, and then every month he brings it in his backpack, sets it up for his team at the meetup, and then they do it. Or people who are running education. Those are one of our ideal customer profiles, people who educate about Bitcoin. And then the other one would be businesses who want to attract the Bitcoin crowd. What's the easiest way to do it? Well, set up a Bitcoin ATM, as they say, even though it's not really an ATM. We call it a Bitcoin vending machine. But we have many businesses, for example, in Colombia, in the US, who set one up because it's much cheaper than buying a big ATM, and it's less risky, less expensive to operate as well. And
Nice.
then they just attract the Bitcoin crowd using our machine.
Nice. That's awesome. And you started off in El Salvador, and I think, what convinced you that this was the right time to address this market need? Was it something in El Salvador? Maybe you can go into, some of the things that you're seeing building up within the El Salvadorian community. I know that you're expanding, Aaron, to up to 24 countries now, but I am kind of curious, like, what convinced you that this was the right time to actually build this and create the right ecosystem within this onboarding side?
So basically, in El Salvador, we had the big trigger, which was the Bitcoin law being announced.
Mm.
So, when there's a saying I like, when everybody's yelling gold, you should sell shovels. So that's what we decided to do, selling,
Nice.
a way to access Bitcoin, not Bitcoin itself, just a way to access it. Even though I think we had already sold machines to 6 countries before we sold the first one in El Salvador, though. So it's
Oh,
an
damn.
it's a need
Interesting.
that resonated. Like, I mean, it's in Australia, Japan, the US, as I said, Canada. So it's a need that resonated everywhere.
Nice. And just for additional context for the listeners here, something that we kind of touched on during the first session regarding problem identification, sometimes there's a catalyst that occurs, such as government coming in, changing up some new laws and regulations. If you're able to kind of act on that and really take advantage of those things, you might be able to create and really validate and verify that there is a market for such a solution like this as well. Not necessarily entirely the case for K1, but just generally speaking, I think that is something for all you guys to be thinking about, especially as it relates to crypto, which is unfortunately or fortunately, depending on your type of project, uh, dependent a little bit on local regulations as well. Um, Cool. So maybe we can move on to the next question. Like, how do you actually approach the B2B to C side? Is it different types of conversations that you're having with some of the vendors than you would normally have with the end user? And do these conversations vary from vendor to vendor? My broader question is, how do you actually approach these customer conversations and market research? Do you have a methodology for understanding their needs? And how do you actually structure your interactions to get the best insight possible from these customers?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one of the main things that every startup founder or developer or whoever you are needs to do is talk to your end user, as often as you can. If you don't talk to your end user, if you don't hear their needs, if you don't feel their pain, you're not going to be able to build what they want, what they need. So in our case, we built the first machine, and then, I mean, things were moving so fast here. So we went to Adopting Bitcoin, which is a conference that started here in El Salvador, and we had people from what, I don't know. It was about 2,000 people from, I want to say that I talked to people maybe from 20 different countries at that conference, and just uh, showed them the solution, the first solution we had created, seeing their needs. Oh, what type of wallet are you using? What amount are you usually buying? How can we make it easier for you? So yes, design your dream, but then remember that your dream is only yours. But if you want to design for everyone, you need to talk to everyone. So definitely talking to the end user is extremely important. And then our business counterparts, our operators, I think if they see that you have something that's valuable, that's drawing users, like our booth in the Bitcoin conference in Miami, the El Salvador booth was, crowded the whole time. So, and all of the people were coming through our machine. So obviously we were talking to the end users, but when businesses saw what we were doing, I think we sold 4 machines just during the conference, not even afterwards.
Nice.
Just during the conference, we sold 4 machines just because businesses see how you talk to their users and how you attract them.
Nice. Do you have any questions that you found were most revealing when you had these customer conversations?
I mean, it's about trying to understand their path. Why do you
Nice.
want to buy Bitcoin? Like where does this need come from? What is your previous experience? What are your pain points? Why aren't you doing it in some other way? And people would answer, well, first of all, I don't like putting my credit card details online. I was scammed before. Um, I don't know. I don't know where to go and buy Bitcoin. I don't know what the fees are. I think some people think that, and this happens even nowadays. People think you have to buy a whole Bitcoin. So that's 100 and what? 113, 114,000 right now. Some people think they have to buy a whole Bitcoin. And then if you tell them you can buy from 5 cents, or you can buy from 20 euro cents, or from 1 peso, and then that just shatters their wrong perception. So you when you talk to them, you determine what is stopping them from proceeding in the solution you want to provide.
Yeah, I think that's an incredible thing. And again, just kind of touching on what we talked about in last session. Remember, guys, I want you to really think about how you can turn all this raw insight that you get from the customer interviews, the customer discussions that you're listening to, really understand what the problem statement is. What can you do to force clarity upon the user journey? And that's really important to just crystallize what they need and how you can then action on it with your team, with yourself, with your team, and anyone else that is you're partnering with. That's the first step. That's really so important. And Edgar, understanding like what customers want is one thing. I think you do that extraordinarily well. You live it basically, and you really truly understand it. How do you translate that into a compelling message to actually go and sell those machines as well? Is there anything that you're doing to just develop your value proposition and go out there to really communicate that value in a go-to-market effort?
So the question is, how do we basically translate our message to the customers?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, for our end users, it took a while. I've probably done this demo, I don't know, 1,000 times is probably cutting it short. Maybe I'm closer to 2,000 times doing it. Obviously, in the process, my speech has changed. Nowadays, it's just, would you like some free sats? Because it's 5 cents, so and then nobody says not to free Bitcoin, right? Or you can just go and say, this is the easiest way to buy Bitcoin in the world, which we know it is because we've been all around. And I see a lot of questions, so I don't know if at the end we can go through them, but just sort of.
You can go through them if you want to go through it whenever you want as well. So feel free.
Yeah, well, maybe at the end we can touch on them really quick so that we don't lose the. So, but anyways, it's about developing, like listening, seeing what works. Like if I hadn't done this 1,000 times, I wouldn't be able to find, like if I did it, I released a new feature, I'm gonna go and talk to one person. No, it has to be. I know in our case it's easier because being a physical product, you can just give a person a physical, item, and a coin in this case, put it there, get it here. But you have to find a way to convey your value proposition to the user quickly, because nobody's going to listen to you for 10 minutes, or maybe some people will, but very few will dedicate 10 minutes to listen to you. If you can summarize it in 15 seconds, in 10 seconds, in 5 seconds, even 5 seconds is like ideal. And then this is my value proposition. Would you like to try it? Yes, no, what do you think? And then you can extend, and we have conversations that go on for hours after that. But just that icebreaker needs to be quick. This is my value proposition. I can help you.
Interesting. So very clear, very concise, getting people to actually understand what you're doing pretty immediately, because a lot of people have short attention spans. And I think that's extremely important, just to get that hook that really showcases actual value upfront very quickly, and then you can have deeper discussions right after. I'm curious about just what channel strategies. You mentioned a few, just being direct to consumer, not consumer, but directly to say, hey, here's 5 cents. Feel free to try it out. What channels have actually worked the best, especially on the vendor side? Is it through these conferences? Is it I'm curious, just like, how do you identify and prioritize what channels you're actually focusing on?
Yeah, well, in our case, definitely conferences have been very valuable, just because so many people in the industry, being in El Salvador is a big advantage, because this is the epicenter of Bitcoin adoption in the world. And whenever we go to a conference here in El Salvador, it usually works out well. We've been at the Bitcoin conference, which is the biggest Bitcoin-centric conference, like the Bitcoin conference, usually was in Miami. We went to Nashville. We missed it in Las Vegas this year, but we'll be there next year. So those are the main channels for us so far. Also, we online, like just trying to connect with other people, influencers who are already well positioned. This is one of the areas where we're actually starting to grow right away, because so far we've been growing organically, like referrals, talking to people, but we know we now need to start growing exponentially. So if you have any recommendations on other channels and strategies that we can use, we are at the point where, after already having over 100 machines deployed, we want to start growing, multiplying our impact.
Interesting. And I'm sure we could chat a lot about this as well, directly, you and me after this conversation. But I am curious, like maybe we can go into some of the things where you're thinking about like what metrics you actually use to drive your day-to-day go-to-market decisions. I think that'll be helpful as well as we think through how you're going to scale this as well going forward.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, metrics for us is amount of machines sold, amount of transactions per machine when the customers decide to share that information with us, because as I said, we sell the machine and then it belongs to them. So sometimes they decide to use our dashboard and additional tools that we provide, so we get more insights. So yeah, just the thing is, if you have good partners, like in our case, the operators, and they know like this guy who runs a Bitcoin conference, or I'm sorry, a Bitcoin meetup. He's the one who engages with the users directly. So he is the one that's pushing our the engagement metrics. Or if you solve a specific need that cannot be solved in a different way, we have another customer who operates one of these machines in a remote town in El Salvador. In that town, because in El Salvador most people don't have a bank account, if you want to pay your electric bill or you want to pay your water bill, you usually have to go down from that little town to the city, take the bus, stand in line, and then go to the electrical company to actually pay with cash so that they don't cut your electricity. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like a tiresome process, but that's the way things work, for over half people in the world. Nice. So this guy, he installed one of our machines in his town. Now people can go to his shop, buy Bitcoin, and then use Bitcoin on their phone to pay their electric bill and stuff like that. So he is the one driving engagement, driving adoption in his town. Nice. So for us, it is important to reach our B2B customers, but then we have this, obviously not everybody gets scores a home run on their first machine. But when people find these niches, the people who are actually from there, because this guy running the machine in the little town, he's from there. He already ran like a general store. Now he provides Bitcoin to his town as well. So these are key people that we need to reach.
Nice. That was it for like the just general core interview. We can move on to audience Q&A. But before that, I just want to kind of say one broad comment. There's something I mentioned in session 1, I believe, about this concept of founder market fit. So and how you can find a project, an idea to a company that you can do that you truly, truly understand. Something that you've lived, something that you've experienced, and understand the impact, the frequency, the true essence of the pain point. And I think Edgar is one of the best examples of someone who's building something that is truly near and dear to his heart. You can see it in everything that you tend to speak about. So I really appreciate you just coming on and explaining how you're building the company that not only is successful, but also I know important to you as well. And that's what I would suggest everyone to try to find, because obviously work is work and a job is not necessarily easy. But if you find something that you truly believe in and are passionate about, it adds a lot more beauty to the everyday today. So Edgar, there's some quick questions here. A lot of people seem to be very interested. First one is, when are you coming to Africa?
Well, I was in South Africa in January. We have a dozen machines deployed around Cape Town. I mean, not us, but one of our B2B partners there. And this is expanding. We definitely want to go into other countries in Africa, because we know that the need is similar to what it is in Latin America. So absolutely, we're already there, and we're looking into expanding our footprint.
Nice. Awesome. Sergio asks, you still need to be confident with the machine. How do you make him feel that you don't need to trust those machines?
I mean, yes, you do need, I'm assuming the end user, you need the end user to trust the machine, usually because the barrier is so low. We like on the initial step, like you can give 5 cents to the user. What's the cost of user acquisition in a regular startup, or for a new software project? It's way beyond 5 cents. So if you give a nickel to somebody and say, hey, use the machine, that usually breaks that barrier.
Nice. Awesome. And then Sergio also asks, can they change the private belongs to them? I'm guessing referring to the owner of the machine. Can they change the private key or use the default one that you already know?
No,
Not
so we
entirely.
don't know.
Yeah.
We don't
Oh,
know the
sorry. Go
private
ahead.
key for the machine. Yeah,
Mhm.
the machines either work. They can connect to a wallet like a Strike wallet or Blink wallet that have an API. Those are Lightning Network wallets. Or now, what we're working with StartNet is that you can create a StartNet wallet and then load your private key onto the machine. You can change it as often as you want, and then that StartNet wallet becomes the liquidity provider for any Bitcoin purchase on the machine.
Nice. That's awesome. What is the full meaning of the K and one? How did you come up with that?
So K1 stands for
I'm
kiosk
curious about
one.
that too.
Yeah, kiosk one. It was because it was the first kiosk, the first payment kiosk built in El Salvador.
Nice. And then Tori says, I love your solution, Edgar, but how do you protect the machine from insecurity? Then he mentions in Mexico, that machine would disappear in 5 minutes.
Yeah, El Salvador isn't that far behind, actually. Maybe 6 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. So the machines have mounting
4 minutes.
points. Yeah, the machines have mounting points, so you can mount them to the wall, or you can mount them to a to a stand, which the stand can be mounted to the floor as well. Also, the machines have a lock. There's different standards for machines that handle cash. You can have an ATM level security machine that can be, at the bus stop, at the train station. Our machines are at the cash register security level, which means they can resist being tampered with for a few minutes, but it needs to be in an area that's somebody supervising.
Nice. Awesome. Edgar, thank you so much. I think that's all the open questions right now. Where can we find you if we want to follow up and just learn a little bit more about what you're building, or maybe get ourselves one of those ATMs?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find us on social media as K1 El Salvador on every platform. Yes, there it is. Thank you. K1 El Salvador, or if you want to go to our website, just k1.sv.
Amazing. Yeah, please check it out. Go to check out what Edgar is doing. Check out what's happening in El Salvador. There's some incredible things happening. Edgar's a big part of what's going on, especially on the Bitcoin side. So super honored to just have you here speaking to
Uh,
us. This has been an awesome conversation. I've learned a lot. Hopefully, everyone else has learned a lot too. Um, Perfect. If any final thoughts that you want to bring up, otherwise, we'll go on to the next session with a lecture on go-to-market strategy.
Yeah, no, just keep building, keep building.
Yeah.
You have to find, as Dylan said, you have to find your passion. If you're building just because you want to make money, you'll probably make money. But if you're building because it's a passion project, something you actually want to solve, you will also enjoy the path. So that's important.
Nice. Awesome. Well, Edgar, thank you so much. Now let's move on to the lecture portion of it. Everyone, thanks. Let's all thank Edgar. He's an extremely busy man, and he's doing some incredible things uh, across the world in El Salvador. Just a really, really stand-up guy. Uh, Loved meeting him last month in El Salvador. So thanks again. Okay, cool. Let me share my screen. And we'll get into go-to-market strategy and first customer plan. Okay. Oops, this is the wrong slide. Let me just pull it up. Okay, we got it. Okay, cool. So let's dive into this is a lot of things that we talked about with Edgar as well, but what separates a successful startup from those who never end up finding traction? That is really the go-to-market strategy. And here's what I see constantly. You build something amazing, you struggle to get users, and then you end up thinking that the problem is marketing. You might chase a growth hack or a viral tactic, but I think that's sort of backwards thinking because great go-to-market starts with your fundamentals. It's understanding exactly who needs what you've built and why they should actually care about it. So, over the next 20 minutes or so, probably a little bit less, we'll cover three key areas. The first will be go-to-market fundamentals. These are the core concepts that actually matter. Then we'll get tactical about execution, and then we'll talk about how we can adapt those principles to Web3. So let's start with the foundations. What exactly is a go-to-market strategy? And I think this is important just to set the stage. Simply put, it's your plan to get from having a product to having customers who actually use and pay for it. But here's the thing. It's not just about marketing campaigns or your sales tactics. Let's take Airbnb as an example. In the early days, they didn't just build a platform and then hope that people would come. They had photographers come in. They helped create professional listings. They targeted cities during major events when hotels were booked up. And they focused relentlessly on creating trust between strangers. That's what a real go-to-market strategy looks like. It touches everything from your product development to how you price and position yourself. It's about creating a system where your product, your audience, and your distribution all work together to create sustainable growth. So now that we understand what go-to-market is, let's talk about the core challenges every founder faces, which is giving people a compelling reason to care about you. That's really it. Your go-to-market strategy is just these four interconnected elements. The direction. What is your strategic foundation? Where do you win? How do you differentiate? What's your roadmap? It's not internal planning. Isn't just internal planning. It drives everything going forward. It drives your positioning. This is the flow directly from your direction. You have to make it obvious why customers choose you by locking in your ideal customer profile, which we'll get into a little bit later today. You need to clarify the jobs to be done, align your product, price, and your promise together. Then you have distribution. This is your sales. This is how you execute on reaching customers. You pick your go-to-market motion, whether that's product-led, sales-led, or partner-driven. You find the right entry points and build repeatable acquisition loops. I see a message from Caspa that he's not seeing my slides. Is anyone else having that issue? Because I see that I am screen sharing. Just want to make sure
I'm
that
seeing your slide.
Okay. Sorry, Caspa. Maybe it's your Zoom. Okay, cool. We'll have it recorded so you'll be able to see it in the future as well. Then finally, we have the end goal, which is your customer experience. When your direction, your positioning, your distribution, when they all work together, it creates this powerful end result where users don't just buy, they stick around, they refer others, they provide valuable feedback to you, and ultimately they cost less to support over time. This is your flywheel. This is a flywheel that will compound over time. You create happy customers. Those happy customers become your best marketing channel, and that marketing channel then reduces your acquisition costs, which then gives you more resources to improve the product, which creates more happy customers. So I can break down an effective go-to-market into 6 building blocks. Target your customer clarity. This is a laser-focused clarity. I want you to be super clear. It's not small businesses that you're targeting, but crypto foundations with 10 to 50 employees who are frustrated with existing analytics platforms. That's the level of clarity that I want you to be on with your customer. Your value proposition comes next. What unique value do you deliver to these specific customers? Your channel strategy is about meeting customers where they already are, not where you want them to be. Your messaging framework translates your value into language that resonates with their specific pain points. Your product market positioning shows how you fit in the competitive landscape, not just what you do, but why you deserve attention. And then finally, number 6 is your sales and adoption model, which defines the complete journey from discovery to purchase to expansion. What is the key insight here? It's that each building block reinforces the other. When they are all aligned, you get this flywheel effect that I mentioned. Now let's move on to some specifics. And this is where I think a lot of founders get nervous, because I'm going to tell you something where I think you should start smaller than you think you should. Your beachhead market should feel uncomfortably narrow. That's what a beachhead is. If it feels like it's a big adequate market size, you're probably too broad for early traction. Facebook started with Harvard, and then they went on to other Ivy League schools. and all colleges, and then everyone else. That's a progression that wasn't done accidentally. It was strategic. So what is a good beachhead market? It's someone that you can actually reach. They have urgent needs for your solution. They're concentrated enough for efficient outreach, and they can become references to help you expand. That's the counterintuitive truth. If you start small, you start focused, it actually gives you the best shot at building something large and sustainable. And I want you to think about more than just traditional segmentation that just asks who people are. I want you to think about effective segmentation that examines what they do and why they do it. So I put together a couple different things. Demographics tell you someone is a 35-year-old marketing manager, for example. Behavioral and psychographic data tells you that they prioritize X over Y. They make decisions collaboratively, or they do something else. Spotify was really great at targeting because they created personalized experiences based on listening patterns, time of day, and mood indicators. Their Discover page works because it segments by all these different demographics, not just by age, but by behavior. So for you, I want you to identify what behaviors are your customer or your best customers exhibit. What psychological drivers influence their decisions? These are key insights that predict the customer value and actions far better than just your general demographic profile. Now, here's a page I want to talk a little bit about. Your unique selling proposition is sort of more than just marketing copy. It's this strategic foundation that guides every customer interaction. An effective USP addresses a specific customer need, highlights your unique benefit, and it's memorable and can be validated with real users. So if you look at this Venn diagram, it's your sweet spot sort of lives right here. I think I might need to change the slide up. I'm not sure. But this is what happens when I make things on Excel job pretty quickly. What do you do exceptionally well? What customers desperately want, and what competitors can't or won't do? That's your sweet spot. And that intersection is your defensible positioning, and everything else is sort of just noise. So yeah, I need to fix up this chart. I apologize, but it is what it is. Let's move on to just some general concept of execution. I kind of want to talk a little bit about theory and reality. If you think through like what is an under the growth mode, you want to choose the right one that fits your specific situation. You can have a sales-led top-down growth model, which allows you to use reps to identify key stakeholders, or you can flip the script and have a product-led growth model where users have a need, they try your product with limited commitment, and if they find value, they have clear upgrade paths. The key is really matching your growth mode to your product complexity, price point, and target market behavior. Do not try to force a sales-led approach on a simple tool, and don't expect product-led growth to work for complex enterprise solutions. So I just want to kind of talk a little bit about this. The core idea of product-led growth is your product drives acquisition, conversion, and expansion through user experience itself. Many of you guys will probably be PLG. Users end up getting real value before they pay, and they naturally adopt, invite others, and then upgrade themselves. So the traditional flow goes like this. They sell, you sell, they try, they buy. The product-led is they try, they buy, and they expand for you. Calendly is a perfect example. Calendly made recipients into users without any friction. When someone sends you a scheduling link from Calendly, you actually then pick it up and you experience the product's value before you actually become a customer yourself. That is how viral growth works and how it's built into Calendly's core functionality. But to really succeed in anything, I want you to just care about one thing. I want you to care about your customer. And I want you to think, are you enabling a customer first culture? I want you to think about, are you moving from net retention to gross retention? Focus on keeping customers, not just growing revenue from existing ones. Are you shifting from new bookings to lifetime value? Thinking about beyond the initial sale to long-term customer success? Are you prioritizing customer value in every function and aligning your internal incentives with customer outcomes? If you are, great. If you're not, then you're not finding the right foundation to sustainable growth. When customer success drives your decision on your company, everything else gets a lot easier. So, how do you actually go about this? I think there are kind of some interesting ways that you can think about how you can use digital channels. For content marketing and SEO, I put some things here. Have a content strategy, comprehensive guide, content, um, target high intent keywords that your audience actively searches. Repurpose everything for your social, your newsletter, and community platforms. Reuse a lot of stuff that you can. On the social and community side, choose platforms based on your audience's preference, not your personal preference. So I generally like to follow the 80-20 rule, where you provide 80% value and education and 20% is promotion. Too much promotion leads to people getting kind of annoyed. So really kind of build also private communities around your expertise, and ultimately always just track your leads, your traffic, and conversions by channel. The most successful digital strategies treat channels as communities to participate in, not just platforms to broadcast on. And that's kind of really important. That value contribution will always precede value extraction. And this is my favorite one: retention. It often matters more than acquisition. Basically, my core thesis is that a 5% in retention improvement can actually yield multiple times higher customer lifetime value. So how do you do this? Most importantly, you want to build engagement loops around your core usage cycle. The main actions, this is just basically the main actions that users repeat to get value. Design these habit-forming experiences with triggers, actions, rewards, and investment opportunities. Create smart re-engagement nudges and track user health to identify at-risk customers. Duolingo, and Sutun can talk a little bit about this as well, because she has a massive streak. Their entire retention strategy relies on these concept of streaks. Their data showed users who completed multiple consecutive days had dramatically higher longer-term engagement. So they built their entire experiences around protecting and extending those streaks. Always try to prevent churn. So identify the early warning signals and create automated interventions for at-risk users. Always collect exit feedback from departing customers, and then test win-back offers for inactive users. Ultimately, just create a system to maintain engagement and prevent churn before it happens. Easier said than done. I'm going to skip over this page just real quick to just talk a little bit about how we can explore these principles in Web3. At the end of the day, you shouldn't throw out everything that works in Web 2. Really, the opportunity is to iterate on the proven approaches and then adapt them to the unique incentive structures and community feedback loops of decentralized systems. So traditional marketing principles are clear value prop, focused targeting, channel optimizations. They still apply. How do you execute it within Web3 is a little bit different. And I would say that the biggest issue is, many Web3 projects face this challenging bootstrapping cycle. You need to create users to create value through interactivity and adoption. You need security to build trust and attract users. But the issue is token price and support. As token price supports security by incentivizing validators, and value drives token price through utility and demand. It creates a sort of chicken and egg problem that requires some type of intervention to break the cycle. And this is it. This is the cycle. See that green line right here? That's what I am putting as token incentives. They are very useful for jumpstarting adoption, but they have to trend downward over time. Early on, your incentives do the heavy lifting to overcome the cold start problem. This blue line is your native utility. It's the real value that users get from your product. If those lines do not cross, then you're running an unsustainable rewards program. You're not building a business. Here's how basically successful startup projects evolve. They start with this initial incentive peak where they use maximum token rewards to overcome the cold start problem, and they balance user acquisition with token sustainability. Then they have a crossover point, which happens when natural utility matches token incentives. This often indicates some type of product market fit. Equilibrium occurs as incentives fade while utility drives growth. And then finally, we have the network effect takeoff, which creates self-sustaining growth driven by value, not necessarily by subsidies. This is what separates a Web3 company that is successful from temporary hype cycles. So I'll close there. I'll leave you with a few key takeaways, and then Sutung will take over to just add some more context. Start with idea validation and a clear unique selling proposition before jumping into tactics. No amount of marketing fixes a product market fit problem. Second, focus on a narrow, well-defined segment initially. I know it feels counterintuitive, but it does create stronger traction that you can expand from. Third, always test small, measure clearly, and iterate quickly based on real user feedback. Do not fall in love with your first approach. The fourth point, let the product value drive growth when possible, and you can create these natural adoption cycles rather than just force growth through paid acquisition. And finally, blend online and offline strategies with a comprehensive reach. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Yeah, so those are the principles that I kind of want to take you. We'll share the slides as well, and I'll stop there. Thank you.
If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the QA section. Dylan will be able to answer that. Meanwhile, I'm gonna talk about some admin stuff. Are you seeing my screen? Perfect. Yeah, so mention again this week's assignment. So this week's assignment is to create a one-page go-to-market strategy overview. And then you have to include your brand positioning statement. So what makes your project unique? Like what Edgar said, like what's your project value proposition? And then second one, also include a core marketing message that clearly explains what what your product does. Third one, also related to like previous sessions, like a target audience persona, detailing who will use your product and why. And then to submit it, you can converse it with the Telegram VC chat before next session. And one thing to mention is that you don't have to send it to the Telegram chat, the group chat homework channel. Like you can send it to it to have people reply to you, get some feedback. But like in order to submit it, you just need to talk with the Telegram VC bots and then get some feedback. And then we will be able to see whose Telegram handle has been interacting with the VC bots in the dashboard. Okay, so that's homework. And just to remind you a little bit, like on the 5th week, we have a demo day. And the demo day will be on September 2nd. So what the weekly assignments right now you have been doing will be building up to the 4th week assignment, next week's assignment, which is a 4-page mini deck of your project. And that will be used for demo day. So you need to submit that pitch deck in order to join the demo day selection. And our team will select around 10 teams to pitch on the demo day. So what you have been doing over the weeks is helping you to build up your pitch deck at the end of this program. So some people have been messaging me that if I didn't have time to finish previous weekly assignments, will there be a problem? Like, no problem. You can start right now. You can still interact with the VC boss and do the weekly assignments before. There's no problem. Like you can always start. And you can also chat in the Telegram channels to get feedback from other colleagues as well. And also one important reminder, like there are some useful links. I think people are not getting it. So the first one is a resource page. So we have the slides, the recordings, and some additional readings for each session on the resource page. So that's one of the most important page you need. And then we have a Telegram community cohort chat. So if you are not in that chat, please make sure you join it. And then we have the VC bots weekly assignment. So you just finish the assignment, send it to the VC bots, and then you will be able to get some feedback from it. And then there's another thing. If you want to be a graduate with honors, like throughout the program, you need to submit at least 3 social media posts. And it can be anything. It can be something you learn in Dylan's sessions. It can be something that our speakers like Anatoly or Edgar shared during the sessions. It can be something that you learned and improved about your project over the week. Like there's a lot of things that you can post about. It doesn't have to be the weekly assignments you do. And after you post it, you submit it in the form right here, and we'll be able to see how many posts you have been posting. So that's several links that are important for this program, and I'm gonna send it in the chat as well. Yeah, perfect. Let's see if there's any other question. I think that one's for you, Dylan.
Yeah, there is a question here from Meatback. How can a solo technical founder handle non-technical tasks like community building and marketing? He continues with, these areas seem to require a dedicated marketing team. What strategies or approaches would you recommend for solo founders managing everything on their own? That's totally fair. But my counterpoint to that is you don't need to magically turn into this full-time marketer. You can cover the basics in a way that is probably effective enough until you have the resources to bring someone on. How could you do this? The first one is sort of focusing on this minimal. I've been using the word minimum and minimal quite a bit, and I feel like everything that you should do is sort of around this concept. It's pick one main channel, pick one viable distribution angle. And then it could be Twitter, it could be Discord, it could be LinkedIn, if you're focusing on that type of market. You don't need to be everywhere all at once. So pick one main channel and then post consistently about the progress, your insights, your problem space. And my general thing, especially if you're a solo founder, is people follow and love authentic people more than people who are putting together these beautifully polished campaigns. So build in public, use that as content, updates, share your technical challenge, share your small wins. People like seeing that, and throw in some of your personality as well, and that can go a long way. You can also look to leverage your community as support, depending on the scale of your community as well. So you can start off with as lightweight as possible. It could be a Discord, a Telegram. A lot of people in Web2 have used small email lists, and then just treat it as your extension of customer support and user research. Use that for, not just for the hyping people up, but for sharing. I kind of mentioned the 80-20 with a 20% promotion. Just be close to them. Be close to your customers. Early adopters love that stuff. Answer their questions. It builds loyalty, and then you don't have to have this marketing fluff associated with it. I hope that answers your question, Yubarak. I see something here pertaining to market fit and go to market. One can also have, sorry, if I'm trying to read that. One can also have a product and strategy that fits with a current high visibility narrative. For example, K1 launching Bitcoin vending machines implicitly benefit from El Salvador's direction toward Bitcoin as a nation, namely under their president's vision. Yeah, definitely. I think if you have a product and strategy that fits with a high visibility narrative, latch onto it as much as possible. It's something where if you can even get some kind of spillover effect, and then be able to latch on or just be what's the fish that eats the stuff from a shark and then cleans it? It's like a synergistic benefit. I remember learning this stuff in like a remora, something like that. I don't know. There's a fish that eats like junk off of sharks, and they eat the food, so they benefit, and the sharks benefit by getting clean. So yeah, always try to benefit from like the wake of other things as well. If you can do that, you can benefit quite a bit and not have to deal with. And that's a way to actually sort of latch on to some of the distribution angles, especially if you are a technical co-founder and don't have a full team associated with it. So great point, Anthony. Thank you.